friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dr. Jamie. It's been a minute. I have not been great with my long form content lately. I've had a lot of exciting things going on, including recently engaged, which is very exciting. I have to get my ring resized, so I'm like living for my last day before I have to send it back for a little bit. But I am excited to hop back on YouTube and start posting consistently again. So I thought before we start to get into the nitty gritty and what I'll be filming in the upcoming, weeks and months, I thought we'd do a little bit of a life update and let you guys know what I've been up to. It's wild because I've already been working for, let me think about this, about 6 months already with my first job. Time is going insanely fast, and I'm starting to feel more confident as a clinician, thank goodness. But it's been a whirlwind, if I can talk. I've definitely filled up my schedule a lot more. For those of you who don't know me or you're watching this video as your first on my channel, I am a PT who specializes in pelvic floor health, as well as I do treat other orthopedic conditions as well. I would say right now, schedule-wise, I'm a little bit of a mixed bag. I have, I'd say, maybe 60% women's health or pelvic health, and then the remaining 40 or so could be anything orthopedic, from like shoulder to ankle, post-op, you name it. So it's definitely been overwhelming at times, just trying to treat a variety of conditions, but at the same time, I think as a new grad, it's been a good experience. I think one thing that I notice within pelvic health is that a lot of the time when you're trained on these, special techniques, internal assessment, external assessment, you're so focused in just at the pelvic floor that it can be hard to, still look up and down the chain and say, okay, is pelvic floor having this dysfunction because of something else that's going on with a past injury or with your breathing or how your feet are positioned? So it's very multifactorial. So I think having the ability to treat and see different orthopedic conditions that could then relate to people that are dealing with pelvic health issues has actually been really helpful. But overall, it's been really good. Since my last video, I have taken my first mat Pilates certification. I should say first and probably only. It goes through like the beginner, intermediate repertoire. I went through a studio that is STOTT Pilates, and STOTT is a certification. It's very much like biomechanical rehab based. So as a physical therapist, that just seemed like it would be the easiest for me to integrate into my own practice, as well as offer, small group classes to individuals of varying levels, past medical histories, and so on. I will be taking reformer Pilates training in the winter, which is very exciting. The clinic I work at has a small group reformer, which is about 4 people. And then we are just starting the mat Pilates, which will be like 5 people max. So very nervous about teaching. I won't lie, I need to get more training hours in as a teacher. I'm going to be starting teaching in a couple weeks. So if you feel like it would be beneficial, if you're someone who loves Pilates and you're interested in watching videos, exercises, or like actual workouts that are based on mat Pilates, let me know. That's something that I could definitely offer. And I always want my care to be accessible I think the, pelvic health specifically can be a little less accessible at times just because there's less people who offer it, and more people are going into a cash-based model, which I think is not necessarily, it's not a bad thing. It just may limit those who don't feel comfortable spending out of pocket. So I'm always here to help at least give education, general advice on pelvic floor, and I also would love to do that with Pilates if that's something that everyone would be interested, or some people. So please comment below. I wanted to use today more of a, getting a feel for what you feel like you'd want answered in terms of, it could be pelvic, orthopedic related questions based on injury or prevention or birth prep, anything like that. It helps me as well to make sure that I feel like I am fully stocked in that knowledge. And if there are questions where I, want to dig more into the research, that's helpful for me too. And also just to make sure I share the most up-to-date evidence-based practices with you all. So anything that you'd want to hear from me, advice, exercises, I can try to offer life advice, but I might need that myself. But overall, I am really enjoying the clinic I'm at. I'm still one-on-one hour sessions with everyone, which has really given me a basis for like building a strong relationship with my patients. There are some who I've been treating since I started, and it almost feels like this just relaxed friendship environment. Obviously there's professional boundaries, but just in terms of how we're able to communicate and they feel open with me, that's always my goal. So I think that it's easier to gain that rapport and that trust with patients the longer you spend with them. So it's been amazing having that set up. I also have gotten more comfortable in, trying different techniques on people, being open on, hey, I learned this thing that could be really beneficial for XYZ. And I feel like when you have that rapport and relationship, patients are very receptive to, trusting you and, hey, yeah, let's try it. This may be a great thing. If not, hey, I gave you all of my ideas and maybe we need to start on a different path. But anyway, that's kind of my, in a nutshell, clinical update. Life-wise, like I said, I got engaged last weekend on Lake Michigan. If you're familiar, Lake Michigan is gorgeous. It's my favorite place to be. We were just north of a town called Ludington. My favorite place on the west side is Grand Haven, but you're not able to like backpack and do like a tent on a dune there. So I was really happy that he chose, or he did, to ask. And I'm not a camper, but I always agree like once a year to do 1 or 2 nights in a tent. And I didn't sleep great, but I was also just very excited. We went on Saturday and we came back Sunday, so it was a very like quick trip. And he had my dog involved, so if you've seen Benny in any of my past videos, it was very sweet. He had a little bandana. I was like, will you marry my dad? And he asked the question, and then I was surprised. I knew this was coming in the near future, but he was very fixated on like getting a picture at sunset with the 3 of us. So I was like, this is a little unlike him, but it was very sweet. So we took some pictures on my tripod, so I was happy I had that. I was also very proud of myself for getting some of the pictures. I never really wanted a photographer, when it happened. I wanted it to just be us. So I think that was a perfect compromise. And then, you know, leading into another life update, we're actually going to be going to Japan soon. So I looked into getting a photographer for Japan to do some like or I should say like engagement or couple photos. Who knows if we'd use them with like save the date, probably, if we're paying for it. But this photographer just does very candid work. It's almost like a vintage film feel. So super excited. I turned 30 next month, which is crazy. So this is just a very exciting time. It's busy. So like I said, I definitely want to get back into more of the long form content. So anything that you feel like would be helpful content wise, it's just good for me to check in with my little community here. Obviously, I will continue to post things that I think are important for everyone to know and things that I find interesting or I'm passionate about. But any specifics, like I said, please comment below. That's really helpful for me. But yeah, I just wanted to give a little update and give you some reasons why I haven't been so active, at least long form. I do post like my short videos. So if you haven't checked those out, obviously those are just going to be like little bits of content, but I try to be somewhat funny in them, not always. Some are serious, but yeah, I look forward to getting back into the swing of things. I appreciate all of you for following me and kind of following my journey from being a student, PT, till now, where I'm officially my first 6 months in. I am an engaged woman. I'm ending my 20s soon. It's all a lot of change. So I really appreciate everyone who has joined me so far. If you are not subscribed and you want to hang out in my little community and be a part of this journey and learn all kinds of things about pelvic floor, orthopedic, and Pilates material, please give me a like, subscribe, and share some of my videos with your friends if you want. That would be nice. But thank you so much for jumping on, and look out soon for a video that is going to be PT related coming very soon. All right, bye.